How to start reverse wholesaling. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly a complete tutorial on what is reverse wholesaling and how you can start reverse wholesaling today and actually switch up your wholesaling real estate so you might be actually more efficient as possible for wholesaling real estate success. I'm excited for this one. So before we get into it, do me a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe, and let's break it all down. So reverse wholesaling, to understand reverse wholesaling, it's actually a really simple concept that a lot of people started using when real estate markets last time started crashing. So during this time when real estate markets are in uncertainty with rising interest rates, real estate might crash, it might not crash. I have no idea. But this is a concept I think you guys should understand or at least know. So if there's a crash, maybe this could be a way that you can wholesale that you can be actually more efficient with it. Some people become really efficient doing this method. I actually know people that actually only do this method and they do really well. A lot of people sell like $4,000 seminar boot camp courses to learn reverse wholesaling. And really what I do today is actually break down that process and kind of break down how it all works. So to understand reverse wholesaling, let's talk about wholesaling real estate. So what is the actual wholesaling real estate process? What does that look like? So the wholesaling real estate process basically is just regular wholesaling where we go market, we pull a list, we actually go SMS text blast, we'll cold call, we actually try to find a motivated seller. Then we'll go do our acquisitions, contact them, get a contract, do the whole sales type thing. And then from there, we actually try to sell that deal to a buyer. Then we actually pull our cash buyers. We actually might go text out a cash buyers list, cold call them, or just call out our warm buyers, walk through the deal, and actually close the title company. Pretty common real estate wholesaling process, right? Well, reverse wholesaling is kind of like that, but you hit it with the Uno reverse card, right? Basically, it's like this process, but in reverse. Now, this is when wholesaling real estate has two basically types of like levers on how the market works. So it's kind of like regular real estate. Someone says it's a buyer's market or a seller's market where the seller kind of has more control on the deal versus the buyer has more control of the deal. Now, the past 5 years, it's honestly been a seller's market where the seller has basically most of the cards on the table. Real estate's going up. The seller is a lot better. Now, when real estate's kind of going weird or it's crashing, it's a buyer's market, quote unquote, where the buyer has more of the leverage in the situation. And what do I mean by this? Now, what I mean by this is where it's harder in wholesaling real estate is where sometimes it's harder to find the deal and the seller and a motivated seller. And it's actually really, the difficulty of finding a buyer is actually really, really simple. It's not hard at all. When real estate gets harder during a real estate crash, finding a buyer gets really hard, and actually finding deals and sellers really hard because everyone's in a pre-foreclosure, right? 2008, it was actually like this. Now, the point of wholesaling, everyone really knows the past 5 years or something that, hey, we got to focus on marketing, finding these deals because that's the hardest thing. Now, reverse wholesaling kind of has that concept, but it's flipped where, hey, we got to focus on the cash buyer first and try to put most of our efforts on the buyer and put our efforts with the sellers, but not as crazy. So that's technically the wholesaling, reverse wholesaling process here where we're focusing really, really hard on actually finding buyers first. So the process is basically we're finding the buyer, we get their buy box, their quote unquote buy criteria and see what they want to buy. Hey, I'm looking for 3 2s, I'm looking for 2 2s, looking for ARVs of 200,000 or below. When real estate crashes, people cash buyers are still buying. Their criteria are a little different. So in markets before, we're regular wholesaling still working the best now, but reverse wholesaling is still a concept you can use for success where if you have it's kind of like Field of Dreams, you build it and they will come, right? It's the same concept people have been wholesaling in the past and still now. It's hey, you get the deal and the buyers will come to it if you can market it, kind of put that little carrot, dangle it in front of them. And that does work. But when real estate gets a little weirder where the market starts crashing, you actually want to see what the buyers are buying and actually presenting deals in that criteria because there's so many deals out there that it's slim pickings. You can get so many contracts. You want to get contracts to where the buyers are buying. So for example, I find a cash buyer, John Smith, right? He's a slumlord. He buys 150 houses a year. I'm looking for rentals under 150,000 purchase price that I can rent out for at least $1,000. And I only want to work on the property at least 20, at most, I want to put 15, 20,000 in repairs on the house. And I want it rent ready to go. Not crazy roof issues or anything like that. I just want to buy it, rent it out, maybe fix it up, maybe the cosmetic good to go. You get his criteria there, And now you start marketing, and that's kind of the where. So like then boom, you get their criteria, and then you start marketing from there. So what do I mean by this? Now when I get a pull list, maybe I'll pull a pre-foreclosure list on like ZachData.com or ListREI.com, and I actually can put in there like, hey, I want the most ARV on this is like $250,000, like he said, or $200,000. I want to put at least some equity in this. I want it a residential, right? No MLS. And I kind of switch my marketing to fit his buy box or her buy box on the cash buyer there. And then boom, right? And that's kind of cool because you can pull like 10, 15 cash buyers like that, and it works really, really well. You can start dealing with like hedge funds, things like that, and get their buy box and start marketing to them. And then basically you assign it to that. You get the property under contract. Do your marketing then on that end. So we're starting out with cash buyer, we're getting their buy box, then we start marketing, we get a property under contract, we assign it to that cash buyer originally that we did in the beginning, and then we assign it. It's the same wholesaling real estate concept, except you're kind of pulling buyers in reverse. I personally actually run a hybrid of this system, and I'll kind of tell that at the end of the video of how like I do it really well. Again, the way I wholesale might be a little different than the way you wholesale. The way that I teach you the business is a little different than the way like I might do it if I'm running like a bigger company. So I'll just kind of show you my hybrid system for it. Again, I could probably sell you a $500 reverse wholesaling or like a hybrid reverse wholesaling, regular wholesaling course. Probably sell thousands of it over a weekend. Just email blast to you guys out here on air, do it on the group or something. But like I don't do that. I'm not a stinking nasty guru that's trying to sell you a course, trying to make money off of you. I don't do that. But you got to understand that the advantage of reverse wholesaling is there's one really cool part about reverse wholesaling, and this is what I think is really important for land. So if you're wholesaling land, I think you should be doing reverse wholesaling, because the advantage of this is, let's say we're doing the reverse wholesaling, right? So let's talk about regular wholesaling. So regular wholesaling, I get a property under contract, right? I go in the appointment, and all right, let's reverse back even more. Okay, I get a property under contract, right? And I try to find the buyer. I do the whole process, assign it, close it, good to go. Now I do another deal, right? And I do my marketing, and then I have a seller, and it's like a weird deal, right? And I'm like, okay, how much is this thing worth? Maybe it's worth 120 to a cash buyer. Like I'm not too sure. I try to lock it up to the lowest and try to bid it out to a cash buyer. And he tells me I'm wrong, and then I have to go actually get a price reduction. It kind of stinks, right? Now in reverse wholesaling, it's like I found the buyer. Let's say it's this guy, 200,000 rental thing, right? I actually go on the I have a guy, I want to get a contract. He wants to sell this weird house. What I can do is actually go to the cash buyer and say, hey, I'm actually going to an appointment tomorrow on this deal. Maybe call him up or her up and say, hey, this is 123 Main Avenue. You've bought 3 deals from me. I trust you. Now I'm trusting you. Don't contact the seller. Oh, I won't contact the seller because you, Mr. Cash Buyer, are going to get this deal first. I'm going to send it to you first. How much would you buy this property for? I'm really confused on the comps here. And I want you to be the first person to buy this from me. He or she might say, you know what, Zach, this is a weird deal. It looks like it needs 30,000, a little more renovations. I can buy this for about 140,000. Perfect. So guess what? I go in the appointment. It's like buying dollar bills, guys. It's amazing. Now I go in the appointment and I'm like, Mr. Seller, how much do you want to sell the house for? I got to sell this for at least 130, Zach. Oh, okay. Well, I was talking to, my partner and, my cash partner, and he was roughly, I was talking to Rick. He wanted to buy this for like 100,000. Oh, 100,000 doesn't work. Well, you got to work. Can we work in the middle? You're at 130. I'm at 100. Can we do 115? Sure, 115 works. Guess what that means? You sign the thing for 115. When you shake that hand or get that contract signed, you're going to sell that to that cash buyer for $140 stinking $1,000, which for 140,000, which means you make a $25,000 assignment fee. You actually have the confidence on that appointment knowing exactly what a cash buyer is willing to pay for the house. That works really well, guys, because now you know exactly what the cash buyer is willing to pay for the property. When you go and try to negotiate, you know exactly what you're doing. Again, I call it buying dollar bills, because if you're buying on an appointment to buy a $100 bill from somebody, a Chris Benjamin Blueface, right? Get a nice $100 bill, and that's what the person's trying to sell. I know it's worth 100 and someone's willing to do something. It's worth $100 in value. I can buy something with $100 on it. And I say, how much are they going to sell? They want to sell it for $90. I'm like, well, can you buy it for 60? And then we negotiate, and I actually buy the $100 bill for $70. That means I made $30 in profit. Same thing in reverse wholesaling. So you can actually send the deal to a trusted cash buyer, and it works really well. This method works the best on land because it's really hard to comp land. So you just bring that land deal to the cash buyer and they'll give you the price they want to buy it for, and you're good to go. Wholesaling real estate, at the end of the day, guys, remember, we are selling contracts. We are like, that is the business we are. The marketing is really, that's the most important part still, right? Text blasting, cold calling, everything like that. But at the end, like everything breaking down, we're selling contracts to cash buyers. Like, that's really what we're doing. Now, if you have the good product, it basically sells itself, but you are selling it, you're selling that contract. And if you know exactly what the buyer on your product is, you just go get it and then sell to them for the price that they want. And it works really, really well like a business. So reverse wholesaling works really well during down markets and land wholesaling. My hybrid system is where I'm actually doing regular wholesaling real estate, but I have a dedicated dispositions team that every single day pulls cash buyers for me. So technically I'm pulling cash buyers while I'm marketing. So I kind of have both going on at the same time, and it actually gives me the best possible scenario. So that is my hybrid system where I have a dedicated VAs and a team pulling cash buyers. Technically that's the first, and I'm marketing first. So technically those are still number one. So I'm pulling cash buyers and pulling lists at the same exact time. I'm cold calling cash buyers and cold calling motivated sellers at the same exact time. That is my hybrid system where when I have a deal, I already have all the contracts. I already have all the cash buyers and the contracts done, where it's actually a really efficient system. So that's the way I do it. That makes me the most possible money on my deals. I always bid it up for the most cash buyers possible. And if you want to learn wholesaling real estate for free, learn my entire systems, my hybrid systems, reverse wholesaling, regular wholesaling, the entire thing, contracts, marketing, dispositions, how to deal with title companies, all this stuff, do me a big favor. Go to freewholesaling.com. That is my free real estate wholesaling course from A to Z. I'll teach you the entire wholesaling real estate process, and I'll teach you everything you need to know. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe. Go to freewholesaling.com, and we'll see you soon. Have a blessed one.